Welcome to Breakthrough Success. I'm your host, Marc Guberti, the content marketing expert, bringing you 5 new episodes every week where I and top-level guests teach you how to take your business to the next level and achieve your breakthrough. Hello, Breakthrough Success listeners. I just wanted you all to know before the episode actually starts, I've been working a little bit behind the scenes to give you something really special. So a while ago, I wrote my book, Content Marketing Secrets, which helps people create, promote, and optimize their content for growth and revenue. And I just put the finishing touches together to offer that for free to anyone who is interested. So if you want your free copy of Content Marketing Secrets, all you have to do is head over to marcguberti.com/book. Now, let's jump right into the episode. I've repeatedly said this, but out of all the social networks, the biggest dark horse seems to be LinkedIn. It is a social network filled with potential. A lot of businesses are using LinkedIn to not just find potential employees, but get prospects, get customers, generate leads. And in this episode, we're going to focus on how exactly do we go about generating leads on LinkedIn. That's what we're going to talk about with today's guest, who is a marketing consultant specializing in online lead generation. She is a published author, international speaker, and entrepreneur who is the founder of Wizard Media, an online marketing agency, and she is also the founder of Lead Gen Mastery, an online training course teaching companies how to generate high-value leads with LinkedIn. Today's guest for episode 212 of the Breakthrough Success podcast is none other than Jimena Cortes. Jimena, it is such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Well, thanks so much for inviting me, Marc. I'm very excited to be here.
Jimena, I'm really excited about having you on the show too. And LinkedIn is just such a underrated social network, really, because it's definitely a lot more than just an online resume social network. And I feel like more business owners have to see the potential that is LinkedIn. We're going to go into that. But before we do
that, for sure.
Yeah, and I like it's such a dark horse. It's so underrated, and why LinkedIn? Like for you, like how did LinkedIn get on your radar?
Well, it was really kind of by accident. So, I started my agency back in late 2011. And when I first started out, I had worked at several different companies doing online marketing. I taught myself how to do search engine optimization, became really good. And so I decided, I can probably make a lot more money doing this for other companies than working for just one company. Because, you work for one person, pretty much it's like you have one client, right? So when I first started out, the most difficult part that I had was convincing people and getting clients, to hire me, especially being a brand new business. I didn't really have any authority out there, really. And so what I did was I started going to a lot of networking events in my local area. And the problem with that I found was I was meeting people that were not the right fit for what I was looking for, the kind of clients that I wanted to work with. You're very limited by who shows up or who's in the area, and you really can't be very targeted. And so I was really struggling to get clients in those first few months. And, one day I was ready to throw in the towel, and I said, all right, I'm going to start looking for jobs because I can't go on my savings forever. And I was looking through LinkedIn, and I noticed that there was, just thousands upon thousands of doctors and lawyers. And at the time, that's who I wanted to do SEO for. And so I said, you know what, let me see, while I'm sitting here filling out employment applications, let me see if I can, figure something out. And literally within a couple of weeks of just connecting with doctors and lawyers and having conversations with them and sending them content and just really trying to create value and seeing if they wanted some help with their marketing. Within 2 weeks of doing that, I got my first SEO client from LinkedIn. And then I got the next one and the next one. And then those people started referring their friends. And long story short, I did not need to go get a job. I was able to grow my company and have a lot of success with it. And, as that happened, I really was only an SEO agency for a couple of years. And the way I was getting all my clients was just like I just explained to you. But what happened was, some of my friends started asking me like, hey, what are you doing? How are you doing it? And then, one of my friends said, hey, can you do a LinkedIn campaign for me? You're doing it for yourself. I've got this launch coming up. I only need you for 30 days, but will you help me? And honestly, at that point, I was only doing it for myself. And I was like, oh, well, I have a course on how to do it. You can buy my course and give it to your team. He's like, I don't want to do that. I want you to do it. I said, okay, fine. So I threw out a price at him. I didn't think he was going to take it. Next thing I know, he sends the PayPal. So I'm like, oh, crap, now I got to do this work. And the good news is that the campaign actually did phenomenally well. And then I said, you know what? I think I may have stumbled onto something here. And that's what kind of led into me not just doing SEO as part of what we do at our agency, but also opening up LinkedIn training and LinkedIn done for you services, and with a very specific formula that we've really defined over the years, but still works like gangbusters.
And with LinkedIn, I mean, it's definitely one of the top social networks for building relationships and finding leads and prospects and getting customers for your services and even products as well. But can you just give us a little more detail into how you find the leads and build relationships?
Well, nowadays, you really got to use the LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Back in the day, you could get away with having a free account and doing everything for free. Things have changed, and you can't do that anymore, and LinkedIn has changed over the years. But if you have a Sales Navigator account, you're able to search for people a lot easier. You have a lot more search filters to really hone in on the types of clients or whoever it is that you're looking for. So you definitely want to think of LinkedIn as a place to get the connections that you need to get from where you are to where you want to be. For most people, that's going to be clients. For other people, that might be investors. For other people, that might be, media sources or referral sources, joint venture, affiliates, whatever it is, right? But it's really about getting really clear on who you want to connect with, and then writing your profile in a way that would impress them. You want to highlight, if I'm going out there to look for investment, and we just recently did a campaign for a gentleman who was looking for investors. And, he had a successful background. You'd never guess too much of it from looking at his profile the way it was when he first came to us. And so we rewrote it. We really highlighted, how much revenue he generated for other companies, his expertise in the space. And then we also put his story as to why he's in this new venture, which had a bit of a emotional touch to it, because the new venture has to deal with his dad dying from cancer and him wanting the help and that kind of thing. So we rewrote his profile and we started reaching out to angel investors that were in this industry. And I mean, in just a 45-day period, this guy had meetings with about over 60 investors. And I know that 4 of them were going to come to his house. I think they came last week or something like that. And he's in some serious talks to raise the $2 million that he was looking to raise. But that's what happens when you write the profile in a way that would impress them. And then once you connect with somebody, then it's a matter of, sending them a series of messages that are not salesy, but are more conversational in tone, but also get the point across as to why you want to connect and why you want to talk. The biggest thing is, once you connect with somebody, don't be salesy, but get them off of LinkedIn as soon as possible if they're a good prospect, and get on the phone so you guys can discuss how you're going to do business.
Now, I want to talk about the LinkedIn profile very soon, because that's something that seems to be a theme of being very important, because that's like, people look at that, they get an idea of who you are, how you can help them, or they don't get those ideas and then they don't look around. But
Exactly.
I was wondering if you could, because you also mentioned about you can't do it for free anymore. And based on what I've heard, I'm just putting this analogy together, the free LinkedIn's like a car, the premium LinkedIn is like an airplane. So I'm wondering if you could share with us how you use the premium LinkedIn to get prospects and like where the free version lacks?
Well, the free version, we're very active. Like the biggest thing too, besides, having the right targeting and the right copy, is having consistency. So if you're not consistent, yeah, you'll get a lead here and there, but it's not going to be any kind of numbers to go brag about. So, we're very methodical in what we do, and we're connecting with around, 75 people a day, Monday through Friday. You can't do that on a free account. You don't have as many different filters. I even forget which filters are in the free account because I just don't use it at all. Like all of our clients are on Sales Navigator because I can search for people by company size. I can look at what groups they're in, so that lets me know their interests, if that's something that we're targeting. And I have the ability to just search for way more people. When you're on the free account, you're limited as to how many searches you can do, and after a certain amount, you just can't search for any more people. So they kind of force you into paying, whereas before, all these filters that I'm talking about, they were in the free accounts, but they're not anymore. You have to pay for it.
And I mean, just based on this episode so far and what I've heard in the past, that premium investment is definitely worth the investment, whatever it is, $30 per month, or maybe even a little more than that, depending on the account that you do. So that's something to look into for anyone who is considering LinkedIn. I know they give you free premium for a little bit just so you could try it out, and then
for 30 days, yeah.
So I do recommend, as Jimena pointed out, 30 days, that's enough time to maybe even get a prospect. If you are committed to get the 75 connections per day, I mean, that's hundreds of people. You get one prospect. LinkedIn Premium pays for itself. Now, I would like to move forward to the LinkedIn profile, because that is another important part of dominating LinkedIn. So I'm wondering if you could share with us what you're looking for in a good profile and some of the easy ways that we could improve ours.
Yeah, so you want to think of your profile not so much as this resume that's all about you, because I hate to break it to you, but nobody really cares about you. They care about what you can do for them, plain and simple. So if you focus on that, and if you look at my headline, for example, it could very easily say marketing expert or LinkedIn lead generation expert or CEO of Blizzard Media. But if you pass through that profile, or if you see that profile, that's not going to pique your interest at all. It's all about me. You don't even know what the heck Blizzard Media is. And if I say I'm a marketing expert, I just sound like the other million marketing experts on LinkedIn. So it's all about being different. So you want to use that headline, which is it's just like an ad, right? You want to use that to get that click through. So instead of saying something boring like CEO of Blizzard Media, you might want to say something like, and this is what my headline says. Lead generation experts gets clients found on Google and generates leads on LinkedIn, offers ROI of 300% plus. So the fact that I'm saying hey, I use Google and LinkedIn and the ROI on average is over 300%, that piques people's interest. At least want to find out, well, how the heck is she doing that? What's going on? So they'll click on it out of curiosity. So if they see, a request come in from me, they'll be like, okay, let's see what this girl is all about. And then I continue to talk about those points throughout my summary and throughout my experience, where I'm very much talking about not all the jobs I had in the past, because nobody really cares. I talk about the results that we've had for our clients and the different services that we offer, so that a client knows, or a prospect knows, that if they connect with me, they're very likely to get results. I've also focused on getting recommendations from the clients that we do have. So when people ask me, well, can you show me where this has worked for other people? I'm like, yeah, go look at the 17 people leaving me positive reviews on my profile. You're welcome to contact any of them. And that's it.
And those recommendations, that's another big thing about LinkedIn, because it's one of the most effective testimonials. Like Amazon book reviews are good. The testimonials for a product page are good. But with the recommendations, you can just click on the person's profile, connect them, and say, hey, I know you left this recommendation for so-and-so. Let me know your thoughts. And it evolves from there. So recommendations are just another part of LinkedIn that are so vital for creating this dynamic profile where people can go and say, hey, this is the person who can help us next. So we have the LinkedIn profile they're connecting with people, LinkedIn Premium, but we could also publish content on LinkedIn and post. So I'm wondering if you use those to attract clients in any way, or do you just see those as more of a traffic generation tool for a blog or other content?
So they used to be really effective a few years ago, back when every time that you made a post, it was notifying your whole network. That actually got me some clients and generated traffic and all of that. That since has changed, and so what we do now is I have a lot of, I forget how many articles, maybe like 40 or 50 in my account. So what I'll do is in my messages that I send to potential clients, I'll link to one of those so that it has a link from LinkedIn. I'm trying to share content and I'm trying to educate, and that I'm keeping them within the LinkedIn atmosphere. So I'll use it for that. But we haven't been active recently in posting that much, just because we get a much better response with the process that I was mentioning to you, like find the prospect, have a conversation, message them, ask for the meeting, and get them off of LinkedIn and get some business done.
And it is good to focus on what works. I mean, you could pick something that moves you a little bit along, makes you a little better. But if it's between something that makes you a little better and something that makes you a lot better, something that gets you the result you're looking for faster, you're going to pick and focus on the one thing that's leading to the most results. And him in his case. Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm totally agreeing with you. I mean, at the end of the day, the only reason we use LinkedIn for ourselves or for our clients is to generate that lead, to get that phone call. Because once we get that phone call, we can really figure out, the next step as far as in the, sales process. And that's really all I care about. Like, content is great and it helps. But just for me, this is just so effective. I just rather focus time and energy and money on that.
And I mean, that's a really great mindset to have. You're just focusing on what works best. And there are a lot of people who they do that and they become successful, especially on LinkedIn, when they're just focusing on getting the prospects and getting those meetings off of LinkedIn. But you've had experience with growing on LinkedIn. You've helped others as well. What do you believe holds most people back from achieving the growth, achieving the results they want to achieve on LinkedIn?
So many things. I don't even know where to start. Well, number one, I would say probably the biggest one is knowledge. Not really understanding, first of all, what to do and how to do it. And then second of all, not really understanding the value. And so I'd say those two things really kill it for people. And, I'll give you an example. Once you know what, I'll give you two examples, but I think this is really important. We have a few companies that white label our services, our LinkedIn services for their own agencies, right, and their clients. And this company recently wanted to take on some of the work that we do. They still want to send us all their clients, but they wanted to cut costs a little bit on our fees and said, well, we'll take over writing the messages and writing the profile, and then we'll send you who we want you to connect with. You guys just do all the other stuff. I said, okay, fine. So we did that, and the results so far on the new campaigns that we've launched have been half what they were when we were doing those parts ourselves. And the reason why is you can't skip optimizing the profile. I mean, there's a formula that we follow, and that gets us about a 30% acceptance rate when we're sending out those requests to connect. If your profile is not impressive, that acceptance rate is going to drop to about 10%, 20% if you're lucky. So that's a huge difference in the amount of new leads that we get to communicate with. So that was a big thing. The other thing, and this is where clients sometimes fight me a lot, they want to make the messages really salesy. They want to connect with somebody and say, hi, this is me. This is what I do. Do you think we could work together? I'm like, no, I will not respond to you if you talk to me like that. You want to provide value first. You want to ask them about them. Then you want to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I saw that you do X, Y, Z. Do you want to get on a call and discuss how we can do business? Then they say yes. But you can't you can't sound like a website. And that's when campaigns have gone really bad, when we can't do the messages the way that we want in a more conversational tone. So that's really important. And And the other thing is not understanding the value in the sense that you can connect with some really high level people if you say the right things in the right sequence and you have clarity as to what you're trying to do. One of the campaigns that we did for ourselves, I was targeting really high level CEOs in a particular industry. And I connected with a CEO this guy is the CEO of a $1 billion company. And he responded to me. It took me a while to get him on the phone. I'd say we connected last March. We didn't have our first conversation until September. But still, the guy is busy. He's running a $1 billion company. So we had a conversation. Then he connected me with the marketing team. Then I went through the whole process of getting them to work with us. And finally, in April, that deal finally closed. But now I'm working with a $1 billion company, and I connected with the head person there. And I did it all through LinkedIn. Like, I could not have done that any other way. I'm not connected to this guy in any other way.
And it is interesting you mentioned how LinkedIn got you that connection because with the inbox, there's just so much happening in the inbox. That's where everyone seems to go that they want to communicate with someone. But if you connect with someone on LinkedIn, it's usually less crowded with the messages as compared to an inbox, especially when we're talking about a billionaire. So LinkedIn can be a hub where there's not as much activity as an inbox, and it's easier to reach out to certain people on that platform.
Exactly. And hey, if you look the part as far as your profile and you don't come off salesy and you really have a conversation with that person, you can connect with some very high level people if they need what you're offering.
And that it makes a lot of sense. It does definitely come back to that profile and having it optimized. I'm sensing that's a theme with dominating LinkedIn and being able to get prospects, being able to build the healthy relationships. But regardless of how good the profile is, there's just going to be certain challenges along the journey to hitting LinkedIn goals and just goals in general. There are a lot of challenges along the way. So I'm wondering if you could share with us one big challenge you faced on your journey and a powerful lesson you learned during that challenge.
Well, really, besides the profile, I would say, a couple things. The targeting, getting really clear as to who your customer is. There are certain companies that we work with, and their customer can only be one type of person because that's the only type of professional that uses their service. Those types of campaigns tend to go really well when the product is a good product that audience actually wants. So that the targeting is key. Then we have other clients where they're like, well, we can service anybody. Well, I'm like, okay, well, that's not really, like who more specifically? I can't just target CEOs in the United States. Like, that's just too broad. Like, if you look at, who your best clients are, who's invested the most money with you over time, like what industries are those people in? Like what do they look like, based on the search filters that LinkedIn gives us, then we get somewhere. So, really figuring out the targeting is one thing. And like I was saying before, the messages are so crucial. Like if you're just a blatant sales pitch, you're really going to turn people off. And so you really want to make sure that you've got messages that pique their interest, that showcase your value, why they want to work with you, but you're also not just selling it. You're proposing in a very conversational tone that, hey, we should get on the phone call, because why else would we connect on LinkedIn and just sit there and do nothing, right?
And I really like the targeting where it's not just like targeting everyone, it's targeting a specific group of people. And I'm wondering, how can we get more specific with the target? I know you talked about a lot of that already. You talked about looking at your best customers. You talked about looking at the industries they're in. Is there anything else we could do to get really clear on who our customer is, especially if we haven't had customers yet?
We'll look at the LinkedIn groups and what groups they belong to, because that's another way that you can target people. So, for example, we have a campaign that we're about to launch where we're going to use that, where this company is looking for people that are, high value professionals and people that make a lot of money who are interested in investing but are not necessarily investors as their job. So in that case, I might be looking for, doctors or lawyers that belong to investment groups because they have money and they are interested in this. So, it's about looking at, how can you find the audience that will most likely respond to what you have based on what LinkedIn gives you. You want to look at the filters that you have in the Sales Navigator and use that as your baseline for either looking at your customers or looking at the interests that are out there, and just getting a real clear picture there. And hey, sometimes you have to test 3 or 4 audiences before you figure out which one works. I've had to do that myself. There was one time I was targeting just sales managers thinking that would work. And I had some phone calls, but I didn't close anything. And then I just took the exact same campaign and started targeting a different industry. And that worked like gangbusters. And I just kept running that as long as I could.
And with the testing, you learn a lot about which market wants which offer you're doing, and you can find the right audience just by continuing to test and learn. And learning is something that I hold dear, and it's why I read several books each month. It's why I enjoy doing these interviews. I learn so much, and the listeners get to learn a lot as well.
Sure.
And with learning in mind, I'm wondering if you could share with us 3 great books that you believe will have a positive impact on us.
Okay, so funny story. One that's fresh in my mind is, we host a mastermind at our house once a month. And at this past weekend, we just had a mastermind. And there's a gentleman there who his son wrote a book that I really enjoyed. It's about investing. Let me find the name of it just real quick. I don't have the name on the top of my head, but it's basically about how to use cash value life insurance to have a better investment strategy. And it's very, very interesting stuff. Hold on one second. And so this guy was in my house literally this weekend. I had no idea. So that's definitely one book I would, let's see, Be Your Own Thing.
Wow, small world.
Yeah. So, okay, the book was Money, Wealth, and Life Insurance, How the Wealthy Use Insurance as a Tax-Free Personal Bank to Supercharge Their Savings by Jake Thompson. So that's a really great book. Another one that I like is the Millionaire Master Plan. And let me see, I forgot who wrote that one, but got it sitting right by my bed, so I need to read it again. James Hamilton. So that one's a really good one because it shows you, okay, based on where you are right here, this is the level that you're at. This is the type of personality that you are. These are the types of personality people that you need around you to take you to this level, and this is how you do it. So it really is a master plan, and it's written really, really well. And for a third, I would say probably Think and Grow Rich, or tied with that, also the 48 Laws of Power. Both are very interesting. 48 Laws of Power, I listened to on audio because it's super long. But man, they tell you some crazy stories, and you really think about different situations in your life that maybe perhaps you should say less than you want to say, and kind of, not be a certain way in case that backfires on you.
Jimena, thank you for sharing those great book recommendations. All those books will be in the show notes, markguberti.com/E212. And for anyone interested in a free book that will help them create, promote, and optimize their content for growth and revenue, you can get a copy of Content Marketing Secrets over at markguberti.com/book. And before we wrap up this episode, Jimena, I've asked you several questions throughout our time together, but what do you believe is one question that we need to be asking ourselves more often?
Well, I would definitely say, what's next as far as, how do I get my business to the next level? It doesn't matter how successful you are. There's always a next level, if that's something that you want. So let's say, for example, you do a LinkedIn campaign and you've got that dialed in and you're generating leads. Well, what else can you do? You don't want to have, all your eggs in one basket. Perhaps you want to then figure out how you can get more leads on a different network like Facebook or Google. And that's something that we do. We don't just focus on one platform, because if LinkedIn shuts everything off tomorrow, then I'm really screwed if everything is there. I mean, I wouldn't be a happy camper, but at least we've got other things going on where we're not completely out of business. And we've got leads coming in multiple sources. But master one first. And once that's done, then move on to the next. Don't do everything at once like some people try to do.
Jimena, thank you for sharing with us that great question and all of your great insights throughout our time together. If you guys want to learn more about Jimena, head over to JimenaCortes.com. That is JIMENACORTES.com. And if you want a surprise from her, head over to JimenaCortes.com/breakthrough. Some exclusive stuff just for Breakthrough Success listeners will be waiting for you at that link. But once again, Jimena, I can't thank you enough for sharing all your great insights with us. It was such a pleasure to have you on Breakthrough Success.
Thanks so much, Marc.
How does over 100 retweets per day sound to you? My free ebook, 27 Ways to Get More Retweets on Twitter, has you covered. I use the methods within this ebook to get over 10,000 retweets every single quarter. To learn